presentation discussion with Albert Holler of Albert Holler and Associates regarding use tax. And Mr. Holler would also mention that Mr. Holler is the town tax accountant. So he's here as a tax accountant and also to inform us about use tax.
Mayor, Council, pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to be your sales tax auditor and consultant. Use tax. What is a use tax? A use tax is a complementary tax to sales tax. That is, either one of them applies. If you paid sales tax on your purchase or your sale, then the use tax does not apply. If you didn't pay sales tax on your purchase or sale, then that's when the use tax would apply. The use tax is the same rate, the same exemptions, exclusions as sales tax. So either one or the other applies. An example, that's the basis of the tax. Going back to in the 1950s in Arizona, the automobile dealers mostly went to the state legislature and requested a use tax. The reason was that they were at a competitive disadvantage by people going to California or out of state, Texas, somewhere, buying automobiles in interstate transactions, which by the Constitution are exempt, so there's no sales tax. So they were losing business. So what they did is impose a state use tax. And the big gist of it was obviously automobiles that came in. So a person then could not buy an automobile tax-free out of state. They would be, in effect, taxed on it when they registered in Arizona. An automobile purchase that's made now would be, if you take your invoice and you bought it from a dealer with no tax, you go register at motor vehicles, and right there they'll collect the state use tax. They will not collect the city tax. If you have a use tax, then the Department of Motor Vehicles sends the paperwork to the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue then sends a bill to the person saying you didn't pay the appropriate city use tax. How would the tax apply to residents of Carefree? In the business area, if a business buys equipment or supplies from out of state, either through the internet or direct mail or whatever source, no sales tax is charged, they would have to pay the use tax at the same rate as if they had bought it locally. So that, in effect, protects local vendors with that competitive disadvantage that they would have without tax. A person, let's say I'm a resident of Carefree and I buy a computer on the internet, I would have to pay the sales tax on it if the purchase was over $1,000. There is a $1,000 exemption for personal purchases by individuals. So it would not affect, if you happen to buy something for $100 out of state or something, there would not be any use tax on those transactions. The other would be the vendors are also required to collect the use tax. So if you have a vendor, comes by and solicits businesses in Carefree and takes orders and what have you, then you have to collect the use tax on those sales because the vendor then has some type of presence in Carefree. The other vendors would be like internet. There's two types of internet vendors. The vendors that do have a presence within the state. The Walmarts of the world have a Walmart internet, Walmart.com, as well as Walmart brick and mortar locations. So those would have to collect use tax on sales that are made on the internet, and they would collect it and remit it to the state would give it to Carefree, and Carefree had a use tax. The other one would be vendors who do not have a presence at all in Arizona, small vendors located out of state, making internet sales. Those sales, there's no requirement that they collect the use tax. But our experience is that a majority of those businesses want to comply, and if you do have a use tax, they'll go ahead and collect that tax and remit it. Currently, the studies have shown that 45% of the national businesses, big boys, Walmart's, Targets of the world, all collect the use tax and remit it voluntarily. That's basically it for use tax. That's the way it applies, that's the way it works. And the other note that I have is that all the cities surrounding you, Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, Phoenix, Cave Creek, all have a use tax. And they do collect revenues from this tax.
This is an item for discussion. The staff and I thought it was worthwhile for the council to become aware of what is a use tax considered for possible consideration in the future. This is an introduction to what is it. Questions, comments?
So, if we impose such a tax and say it was at our sales tax rate, what would the anticipated revenue be?
I just started in Carefree, so it's hard to tell, but other cities, small ones, some of them say they collect $100,000 a year. Bigger the city, obviously.
Well, you do Cave Creek, so, right?
Yes.
The independent outside auditor for Cave Creek? And they
Yes.
have a use tax, so what do they get?
Yes, they do. Well, they claim that it's over 100,000. But it's very hard to determine that. I think they even said it's $150,000. That's what they told me. But quite frankly, the information is limited that you get from the Department of Revenue because of just the reporting that they give us. I can't hang my hat on it,
Yeah.
but it is substantial. And it's kind of it's one of the other taxes.
We're losing out on it because we don't have that.
That's correct. And really, I think the revenue would come from the big boys, the big retailers, national retailers who would voluntarily, start paying you on all internet sales, any sales that are made to a Carefree address.